Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of No Limits. My name is Scott Morganroth, Motor City Madmouth. Pleased to be joined again by Jennifer Lee Cobb, the former cheerleader for the St. Louis Rams. No, you will not ever catch me using LA. I guarantee if I'm going to buy you dinner, it won't because I screwed up there. Glad to have you back, Jen.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
No, I'm always excited when you come on. You, to me, have an incredible topic to talk about. Just to give you a little bit of information, folks, our first show on Jennifer Lee Cobb occurred on May 25th, 2023. A great introduction. We encourage you to go back to that show, and we gave you a lot in that episode, including her background, her information with the St. Louis Rams, and so forth. And I'm going to tell you, folks, okay, this young lady is determined to find a cure for Parkinson's disease and bring awareness. And I just love Jennifer's tenacity and passion for what she does. You, to me, are an absolute godsend for doing what you're doing, Jennifer.
Thanks. I need to come on here more often.
Well,
Woo-hoo!
I'll make it happen. If you want to come on more often, you know how to get me. Just send me a text message and you have an open invitation, Jen. All right, let's get to it. I know you have some things to do with your son's swim meet tonight, but I can talk faster than Indy cars or NASCARs can drive. If sometimes I'm the interstate intimidator. All right. On topic number one, pickleball and Parkinson's disease. Punch Out, Parkinson's, and Muhammad Ali's first gem. Explain that one to me, Jen.
Yeah, so pickleball, that's because it seems to be a very popular sport nowadays. Have you played before?
No, but I know a lot of people that have. One of my best friends actually broke 2 wrists playing it, and the doctors love it because they get paid a lot of money. I'm not trying to scare you away, but I was talking to some people over at work today, and they said, hey, pickleball is a physician's dream, and they get a pay raise because of it. With my track record of falling apart, getting busted up, I would probably be advised not to, just like skiing. That's not a good thing for me to do, but I've heard plenty about it. I know it's one of the fastest growing sports out there, but explain to me everything behind it.
Yeah, so pickleball is kind of like kindergarten tennis, or preschool tennis. It's pretty easy to learn. Tennis is a really hard sport to be competitive in unless you play a lot and practice a lot.
Right.
It's tough, especially if you have a competitive nature. So pickleball is really a little easier to pick up, and in terms of coordination and balance and to be competitive, it's pretty much the same concept as tennis, just the courts are smaller, the rules are a little different, and of course the ball is a little bit of a wiffle ball. It's real light. Paddles are bigger, easier to manage, but the one thing that pickleball is great for when you're dealing with someone with Parkinson's is it really works on hand-eye coordination, balance, side-to-side movements, forward to back movement, your gait, your step, and thinking before reacting, which is really great for the cognitive part of the brain. So it's become really popular with those with neurological issues, particularly Parkinson's. And there has been quite a few people that have taken up the sport of pickleball that have Parkinson's and have had a really good success in terms of those symptoms that I just explained. So it's not just an up and coming popular sport for just someone without a neurological disorder, but it's becoming even more popular with that population of people that are suffering with Parkinson's, ALS, Lewy bodies, dementia, concussions, MS. So I'm really excited to see how many of that particular group of people are taking up the sport of pickleball. Just as excited to see how many that group is taking up boxing. And so Punch Out Parkinson's, which actually was started by a group of scientists that looked at studying the sport of boxing and the movements of boxing. And the first gym that they did this study in was the Muhammad Ali's gym in New York City, the first one that he uh, was at practicing. And so what they did was they took people who were battling Parkinson's and did all of the movements that boxing, side to side movements, bouncing off of the ropes on the side of the ring, using their voice projection every time they would punch, because that's the one thing that the voice projection goes down. The Parkinson's is affected with your voice projection, your gait, your side to side, forward and back movement, your balance, your reaction time. And
Right.
so Punch Out Parkinson's, that has become really, really popular with the population of Parkinson's, because if you really think about those movements, very similar to pickleball, except you don't punch. The program is actually called Rock Steady. And again, going back to what I said earlier, is these scientists did a huge study with people with Parkinson's, and they saw that how beneficial the boxing movements, the sport of boxing, helped assist those that had the Parkinson's. And over time, if you're consistent with the Rock Steady program, you're going to see a lot of YMCAs are starting this program. They're incorporating that into their other classes that they have. You can actually do the classes in a chair. You don't necessarily have to have, stand up and do them. And so there's a lot of different variations to the Rock Steady program. But it's interesting, Scott, because in order to do this program, like at the YMCA's, different fitness centers, you can actually log online. You can find these classes on, YouTube, different internet programs. You actually have to go and be certified, and you can actually get certified at the boxing ring gym in New York City, where it originated initially, which is where Mohammed used to practice years and years and years ago. It's the first gym that Mohammed started at. And it's interesting because that's the gym where the Rock Steady program started out of.
Wow, incredible stuff. Before I go any further, Jen, just want to let everybody that No Limits is being heard around the world, so being broadcast around the world. Your message is going to go everywhere. Also, the audio, that's it. That's what it's all about, Jen. The audio version of No Limits can be heard on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcasts. Please hit the red subscribe button on YouTube, South Florida Tribune. We're striving for 1,000 subscribers. Please also comment, like, and share the broadcast. Want to be a guest? No problem. All you have to do is send your topic ideas to southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you want to advertise cost efficiently, call me at 954-304-4941. We broadcast live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Our website is www.southfloridatribune.com. Our Twitter information is at Tribune South. Candy Ebling does a remarkable job behind the scenes putting it all together. Coming up later this summer, the Motor City Mad Mouse Show will be debuting on the Eagle Court Media Studios in Boca Raton, Florida. They're owned by Dr. Edwin Hernandez. This is a technology based company, and Dr. Edwin Hernandez is going to be behind me on my new book that I'm working on, Jen, Adjusting to New Media. So we'll keep you posted on both developments.
Nice. I like that name. I like the title.
Oh, thank you. I guarantee you'll be getting one of the
How
first
did you come up
copies.
with that title?
You know what, Jen? It's one of those things where, you're in the bit. I had so many ideas for books, but then this one just it is sometimes when something just feels right, and it does, and then boom, that's what it became. Activity in the chat room, Jen. Okay, there you go. Good evening, Scott and Jennifer. George Eichhorn, and actually he's going to be writing the forward on that book. Another thing here, Rock City sounds like it will help a lot of people, and that's a good thing. Well, there you go. Wayne Weinstein.
Yeah.
Look at this activity in the chat room. Hang around for a couple minutes. We can see these. Definitely a much better guest tonight than George and I. Oh, this guy's being modest. He's good. He's one of my all those kinds of things that I told you I met Muhammad Ali over at the Allen Park Gym with Angelo Dundee many years
Yep.
ago, and he's always been a favorite of mine. I think you've seen the picture of Muhammad Ali and I. So that's
Yes.
pretty good stuff, and that's one of the things I love bringing you back on is you always find a new angle, and your tenacity and passion for this disease is off the charts. It's a great cause, as Candy Ebling mentioned. So, I bring on a lot of times. Oh, this is cute. Wayne Weinstein, better looking too. All right, John, look at this. I can tell we don't have any blind viewers out there for sure. Huh?
Oh,
Well,
hey, Wayne.
yeah, they're referring to you. I'm not better looking. You are. Okay, but that's
Oh, yeah. And you guys are free to ask me questions. I'd love to answer any questions. How many out there play pickleball or do any kind of boxing workouts? Boxing is a really amazing workout, whether you have Parkinson's or not, just to anyone. I mean, if you think of the whole the sport in general, I mean, from head to toe, you're working, reaction, eye-hand coordination, your foot movement, your balance, side to side, forward, back. You're working, your cardiovascular, constantly moving around the ring. And then, gosh, talk about workout muscularly, like your shoulders, your chest, your back, your legs, your calves, all of it, your ligaments and your tendons, which hold the muscle to the bone. You're working areas, not just the big muscle groups, but the little ones, and as you get older, a lot of people think that, I got to use it to lose it. Absolutely. But a lot of people, they really don't like or very much enjoy lifting weights. But wow, what a great way to get all of it in with cardio, muscular training, tendons, ligaments, flexibility. And the next thing you know, after 20, 30 minutes, you're dripping wet with sweat. You got a great workout. You just worked all of the muscle groups in the whole body and, flexibility. I mean, all of it. So if you think of the whole boxing, from head to toe, what an amazing all around exercise movement, whether you have Parkinson's or whether you're just, wanting a really, really good workout. And it goes along with also pickleball. But it's hard to do pickleball by yourself. But boxing, of course, you can. You can shadow box. I mean, thank goodness for the internet nowadays. I mean, you can pull up anything on the internet on your phone. You can be in traveling in a hotel room, pull up on your phone, and you can shadow box and do, 10, 15-minute workout just boxing. And what an amazing workout, just, in that short amount of time. And you can add, squats or push-ups or whatever. But look at the figure of a boxer. Like these guys are in really good shape. So it's a testimony to say, like, it's kind of a no-brainer. Anybody can do it. You can do it in your chair. You can do it standing up. It doesn't take a whole lot of coordination right at the get-go just to get into some kind of movement with boxing. So it's pretty interesting that these scientists over years have taken the movements of boxing and created a wonderful way for people with neurological symptoms to be able to use this kind of exercise program but also keep ahead of the symptoms to degenerate yourself with the disease.
All right. Well, action is brewing up in the chat room. So here we go, Jen. All right. George Eichhorn, Scott is featured interviewing Muhammad Ali in my book called Detroit Sports Broadcasting on the Air. How do you like that? I was interviewing the champ. All right. Let's go back to the chat room. And who knows if we'll get to all the topics. We'll get to the ones that are important. What's a workout? All right, Mark.
What's a workout?
Great show as always. All right, George Eichhorn. Here we go. Detroit has a great boxing tradition, which is great. So many youth and young adults have come through the Kronk program. Now I appreciate it more how it helps keep one's mind and body. There you go, Jen. All you have to do is get your message across to a couple people. Then what we've done is in the eyes of Jimmy Walker Dynamite, but I won't go that late loud with my voice, and
Yeah.
I don't want to
Thanks,
strain it. All right.
George.
All right,
Yeah.
and Wayne Weinstein, pickleball is tough, but because now I have nowhere to store my pickles while I play. A joker.
Really,
All
Wayne?
right. What's that?
Really? Okay.
All right.
I,
I'm not
I
sure.
I don't know if you know this. Do you seriously know how the name pickleball got its name?
No, I
Because this
really
is a
didn't.
really great story. And I know a lot of people won't believe me, but this is the truth. Would you like me to share it?
Sure, why not?
Okay. So,
If you want
how
to, we have the
pickleball, and
time
you
to
can
do it.
Google this because this is the truth. There were two gentlemen, and they were playing outside, and they were playing ball with each other, throwing the ball back and forth.
Right.
And over the years, what would happen is when the ball wouldn't be caught, or they had paddles and they would toss the ball back and forth and paddle back and forth to each other, and the ball would go, you would miss it and the ball would roll away. Their dog Pickle would go and retrieve the ball and bring it back.
Oh, wow.
And so over the years, the game was called pickleball because of that. The dog Pickle.
That is incredible. All right. There you go. Now everybody has a Candy Ebling's back on you here. The love watching the Rocky movie where he goes to Russia to train, and he trains with nature as opposed to the Russian who uses machine. I believe, if I memory serves me correctly, Jen, it was Rocky 4, right? I believe with Drago in it.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Rocky 4. All right.
Yep.
Well, you know what? You've given us a great explanation. Do you want to talk about your Major League Baseball Cardinals for a quick second?
Sure.
Go ahead. I'll just say this before we turn it over to you real quick. I know you obviously don't have a lot of time tonight. Want to make sure we can get to what we can. The only thing I'll say about the Cardinals is this: Mark McGwire gets traded there from the Oakland A's, and he decides to sign an extension with the Cardinals. It just goes to show you when you get to St. Louis, they love you. You don't want to go anywhere else. So that's my Mark McGwire reference. I'm turning it over to you.
Well, I missed the game. I did not watch. I know I have actually had a few friends that flew to London to be present and watch the game, but I did not watch it. I'm sorry. I was so busy with kiddos and traveling, and I didn't get my eyes on the game.
You know what? You apologize too much. You don't have to. And take that as a kind compliment. You don't have to apologize for nothing.
Yeah.
But they're having a tough year right now, but I know they have one of the best
are.
histories on the planet. I know David Freese, didn't want to go into their Hall of Fame. I don't know why. That's weird. We'll save that for another time when you have more time to talk about it. But now everybody here on No Limits got a pickleball lesson and a piece of history. One other thing I want to get to you. I know you obviously have a little bit of time, but we're thankful for what you do have. Okay. Wayne Weinstein says you don't want to watch them against the Marlins. Well, maybe not, but I was at the July 4th game of the Marlins with a 15 spot on. All right. One other thing I want to ask before we close out the show, Jen. Okay. Yep. What do you have lined up and how can people reach you?
Well, my website is www.teamgatewaytoacure.org. And the foundation focuses our efforts on supporting the caregivers. And I just finished writing my first children's book, Chair for Care. And it will be published very soon. I'm going to have a little bit of a teaser on the website so you can get a little tease of what the story's about and look at the renderings. But you'll be able to buy it through the website. And I'm going to have it in libraries and the schools and in the different bookstores. And I'm getting, ready to kind of get that all lined up. But I'm really proud of this book because what it does is it really heightens the awareness of how incredible and how philanthropic younger children really are. We don't give them enough credit. And through the imagination, through a child's eyes, how they come up with really creative ideas and ways to bring hope and comfort to their loved ones that are in the home that might be battling something such as Parkinson's or cancer or, mental health or, identity or, depression, whatever, fill in the blank. But the common denominator is looking at the youth, and how they can bring really great care to their loved ones that are in the home, and how they come up with creative ways. And being a great caregiver doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It doesn't have to cost any money. Um, you know, Most times when I sat with my father, um, he just wanted to sit and talk, watch movies, play games with me, chess, Uno, sit around, reminisce about growing, raising us kids, and, the weekends when we would go camping or fishing in Lake Michigan, um, and just what's going on in life, instead of talking about therapy and medicine and the disease and things that are going wrong and how I don't feel good and just all the negativity that comes from battling whatever it is, fill in the blank. And so as an adult child, and my children in their youth, how they were able to bring love and comfort and hope to my dad while spending time with him, and not bringing all of that other stuff into our time together. And so the story really looks at, through the eyes and imagination of a child, how she, Christina, who the person in the book, the character, talks about how her creative ways in the current relative way of that generation, how she goes about bringing smile to her dad throughout the days of his life while he's battling Parkinson's. It's a really sweet story, and I'm really proud and very excited to have written this, but also I finished it right before my dad passed away a few months ago, and so he was able to read the story, and now I want to push it through the finish line and get it published.
All right, Jen, before we go, though, we have to go to the chat room. This is what this is all about.
Oh.
So George Icorn says pickleball was started by my church group a couple of years ago, and it started out small, but really caught on. All right, Wayne Weinstein, your favorite double, okay, is what is your rationale behind the foundation? I'm going to put a couple more things up, and then you can answer that question. BTD, I love children's books as I'm an elementary school media specialist. We'll continue to write it out. George Icorn says, I'm sure your dad is very proud of you. I'll bet he is. Take the exclamation points. This is the type of chaperone we have, Jen. And then, of course, I was going to ask you about your rationale for the foundation, but upon hearing you talk about the book, I gathered it was for your father, right?
Yes, it was. And I want people to know that, it doesn't take any expense at all to bring a smile to someone's face. And my dad wanted his dignity. He wanted his family, his friends. He wanted laughter. And that's what he wanted toward the end of his life. And just to be remembered in his legacy, to remember the man that he truly was. And he was just an amazing guy that always made you laugh, always looked at the positive things in life, and was probably the hardest worker of anyone that you'd ever meet, and had just a huge heart, and one of the most kindest person that you would ever meet. And to have this book in memory and honor of my father it really brings a joy to my heart.
Well, Jen, all I'm going to tell you is I will do everything in my power to make sure you get all the exposure you can to bring every aspiration that you have alive on this. I want to point out one last time before you go off, okay, that the No Limits is being broadcast around the world. The audio version of the show can be heard on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcasts. Please hit the red subscribe button on YouTube, South Florida Tribune. We're striving for 1,000 subscribers. Please also comment, like, and share the broadcast. Want to be a guest? The chat room's been active. send that's one way, or send topic ideas, South Florida Tribune at gmail.com. You want to advertise cost efficiently, call me 954-304-4941. Am I talking faster than IndyCar? Who knows? You can always listen to it again anyways. We broadcast live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Website www.southfloridatribune.com, Twitter at Tribune South, Candy Ebling behind the scenes. And now tonight in the chat room, coming up later this summer, the Motor City Man Mouse Show will be debuting in the Eagle Corp Media Studios in Boca Raton, Florida, owned by Dr. Edwin Hernandez. I am, by the way, the president of broadcasting of it all. I'll keep you posted. The Eagle Corp is a technology-based company. Jen, I'm so glad that we had an opportunity to get you on tonight. I know you have a busy evening, but I want to make sure that everybody got the message. And I always look forward to it. You have an open invite. Come on anytime you want. If you have something new that you want to bring up, the invitation is open. So any final thoughts?
Thank you so much, Scott. I love your show. Absolutely love it. And I'm always so looking forward to being a guest and talking about anything and everything.
Well, Jennifer, you're a class act at what you're doing. As I mentioned, I've never seen an individual who has more tenacity about bringing awareness to a disease that many people are very exposed to. Understand, if you haven't had it, you know somebody that has had it. And with my connection with Muhammad Ali, but you know what? I am so proud of you, Jennifer, and everything that you stand for. And like I said, we'll text each other, and whenever you want to come on, as often as you like. This platform is yours, Jen. And
thank you so much.
The former St. Louis Rams cheerleader who will never catch me saying the other one out west. No way.
No, absolutely not.
I will not. All right. So meanwhile, on behalf of Jennifer Lee Cobb, my name is Scott Morgan, the Motor City Man. Thank you for joining us on this edition of No Limits. Coming up after No Limits, we have Fire Up with none other than George Eichhorn and Jeremy Ballreich. So meanwhile, Jen, thanks for being with us, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
And we'll catch you the next time around. Good night, everybody.
All right.
Thanks for joining us.
Good night.